morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to our Tuesday, January 13th, 2026 meeting of the Calvert County Board of Commissioners. Can I have Pastor Don Veazey come forward for invocation?
Hello, Commissioners. Let's pray together. Heavenly Father, as we come before you today, we do so with gratitude for your goodness and your mercy. Lord, we acknowledge this morning that you are the creator of all things and the giver of every good gift. We thank you for the blessing of living in this country, in this county, and for the opportunity to serve our community. Lord, we acknowledge this morning that true wisdom comes from you, and we ask that you grant it generously to the commissioners and all who serve here today. Lord, guide their decisions. May they do so with justice and compassion and humility, and that what is done may promote safety and the common good of the citizens of Calvert County. Lord, we also confess that our greatest need is not merely good governing, but redeemed hearts. And so, Lord, we thank you for your love shown to us through Jesus Christ, who lived without sin, gave his life on the cross for our sins, and rose again so that we might have forgiveness, hope, and new life. And may the Lord's example of servant leadership inspire all who lead and all who serve. We pray for your blessing upon our citizens, upon our families, upon our first responders, upon our military, upon our commissioners, and all who protect and care for our community. May your grace strengthen us to love our neighbors and to seek what is right. We offer this prayer in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Veazey. Pastor Veazey, he comes to us from the First Baptist Church of Calvert County in Prince Frederick, Maryland.
He just moved here from Missouri.
Missouri.
Yeah.
Big change, huh?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Well, welcome, sir.
He has an event coming
Thank
up
you.
if he wants to announce it.
You have some type of event coming up, sir?
Yes, sir.
Would you like to talk about it?
Come back up and talk.
Most people want me to stop talking.
We'll let you know when that time comes.
So every year we host what we call a sportsman's banquet, and this was the 21st year of that banquet. I know some of you have participated in that, and so tickets are available still for sale. They are limited in number, and you can find those on our website at First Baptist Church there in Calvert County.
And what is the date?
It is February 6th.
February 6th.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
And the menu still prime rib?
We're going to change it this year. New pastor, changes come.
Okay. Hey.
So we're going to have brisket and ribs.
Very
So I
good.
think we'll eat okay.
Oh,
There
very
you
good.
go.
Better get your tickets too. It sells
Sounds
out
good.
every
If
It
you've
year.
never
does.
been
It
to that
sells out.
event, it is an outstanding event. If you're a sportsman and interested in outdoors, it's a very, very good time, good meal, good fellowship.
Our speaker this year is coming from Montana. Chad Schrar, he's been there before, but a very talented speaker as well.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
That moves us to our agenda.
Mr. President, I move that we remove old business item number 1 and approve to adopt the agenda as amended. Second.
So I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda with one change. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have a few public service announcements this morning. First, we'd like to welcome our new CFO, Melina Brookshire. The Board of County Commissioners is pleased to announce the appointment of her as Chief Financial Officer for Calvert County Government. She brings more than 20 years of experience in financial management and leadership. Her background includes aligning strategy and resource sustainability across the public and nonprofit sectors. The board looks forward to her leadership and service to Calvert County government. Treasurer's office. Our treasurer's office has relocated to this building. They were the last department to come over. They came over from the circuit courthouse. Business hours are from 8:30 to 4, Monday through Friday. The county had its annual holiday decorating contest. The BOCC is pleased to recognize the winners. This was the 11th annual year for this. Third place goes to Community Media and Relations. Second place was North Beach Senior Center. Mayor, are you here for that? Are you here to be recognized? Oh, okay, I'm just making sure. Sir. we are. All right, in first place was the technology services. Congratulations to all employees, and thank you for your involvement in this. Inclement weather, cold weather is upon us. Residents are encouraged to prepare now for potential winter weather impacts. It looks like there's a possibility of something happening this Sunday. Residents are encouraged to stay informed and prepared in the event of an emergency by visiting www.calvertcountymd.gov. Be aware, prepare. And signing up for Calvert County Alert to receive timely information about various emergency and non-emergency situations in the county. The Lindell Kelly Shelter kicked off the new year by waiving adoption fees during its new year. New chapter adoption promotion, which runs through Saturday, January 31st. Adoption fees will be waived for animals that entered the shelter in 2025, identified by intake numbers beginning with 25. Animals of all ages are available for adoption, including dogs, cats, rabbits, guinea pigs, hamsters, roosters, pigs, and more. The shelter is open Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 4, and I understand there's no animal of the week. So that takes us to proclamations. Our first proclamation is for the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. Commissioner Grasso.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Hillary Daly. I'm the tourism specialist for economic development. And this year, 2026, America is celebrating its 250th birthday. 1776 to 2026 is 250 years. So this year is the semi-quincentennial. So bicentennial was in 1976, and this is the semi-quincentennial. And we are celebrating here in Southern Maryland. We've got a Southern Maryland 250 logo designed in collaboration with folks from St. Mary's, Charles, and Calvert County. We have stickers and magnets for everyone in the room. And we have a very active Calvert 250 committee that is composed of local students, library system, museums, businesses, county government representatives, and local historians, and just community members. And we've been meeting for the past 2 years to come up with fun things and commemorations for this year. Looking ahead this coming year, 250-related commemoration plans include museum exhibits, library programs, historical lectures, concerts, festivals, themed races, fireworks, public art, student research projects, and community celebrations across the county. As it stands right now, Calvert County looks to be hosting the most 250-related activities in the whole state of Maryland. To find out more about these events going on, go to visitcalvert.com/Calvert250. That's visitcalvert.com/Calvert250. We have with us today several organizations that are planning things that are going to go on this year, as well as some community members that like to support. So I'd love for them to come up, say their name, organization, and maybe tell you a little bit about what they're planning. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Molly King from the Daughters of the American John Hanson chapter right here. And I'd just like to say that my ancestors were here in Calvert County for the Revolutionary War, for the bicentennial, and here we are for the semi-quincentennial as well. And we're happy to be participating.
Come on up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Grace Mary Brady, president of the Bayside History Museum. And we have more than 10 projects that we feature at the Bayside History Museum pertaining to the 250th anniversary. And we have partnered with the Huntingtown High School AP students, Mr. James. We have partnered with the Questers. We have partnered with the John Hanson Daughters of the American Revolution. We have partnered with the state chapter, but mostly I have to talk about our wonderful partnership with the town of North Beach, who helps us with all of our outdoor signs. So that's all I have to say. Mayor Benton.
I've learned a long time ago, follow great leaders, and Grace Mary is an amazing leader. So the town has learned quickly, just do what Gracie says and you should be fine. So thank you so much for allowing us to be here.
Thank you.
Good morning. I know that Grace Mary just dropped the name Quester, and so I'm going to tell you what a Quester is. We are representing the Chesapeakers here in Calvert County. Questers is an international organization, and the Maryland chapter here in Calvert County is called Chesapeakers. It's myself, Carolyn, Joni, Gail, Carol, and Patty. We do have one member missing. She had back surgery and couldn't join us today. So we are a community since 1944 dedicated to keeping history alive through education, preservation, and restoration projects, landmarks to historic buildings, sites, and artifacts to national scholarships. Here in Calvert County, we have donated to the Bayside History Museum to prepare for the 250th anniversary. We've also donated to the Tennyson Oyster Boat to prepare. And in past, we have donated to the Chesapeake Railway Museum and Linden. Thank you.
Thank you. Introduce yourself.
Patty Atley.
Carol Hayden.
Gail McGuire.
Joni Kilman.
Mickey Love, and I'm the director of the Arts Council of Calvert County, and we're looking to do a couple of our gallery shows at Calvert's focusing on Americana and our veterans.
Morning, I'm Jeff Murray. I'm the director at the Calvert Marine Museum down in Solomons. We are doing a number of different things, including a brand new exhibit on the War of 1812, which is not the American Revolution, but is the Second American Revolution, as we're calling it. It's a beautiful exhibit. We're also doing several events this summer that are in the planning stages, so please visit calvertmarinemuseum.com to learn about all of those. So events, programs, lectures, and a new exhibit. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Adam Tremper. It's good to be back. See you all again. Speaking of Solomons, I'm representing the Solomons Business Association. We are planning to do the 4th of July this year on the 4th of July. For the 250th, we're planning on doing a bigger celebration. We want more fireworks, a second display of fireworks. We're trying to get a second barge in place. And also a lot of educational things. So we want to partner with the community and get as many folks to come down to Solomons and the area to set up booths and try to do more engagement with education. I want to thank you all for your past support on the Solomons fireworks. Without Calvert County support and Hillary and the commissioners, without your support, the fireworks would not be happening down there. So thank you so much. And hopefully you guys can make it down this year. I know some of you were down there last year for the 4th of July, so hope to see you guys down there this year as well. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Treasure Thomas, and I'm the owner of My Mustard Seed. We have an urban farm in St. Leonard, Maryland. We grow microgreens, edible flowers, and herbs. We also recently opened up a farm store in Owings, where we provide locally sourced items through partnered vendors and farms in the area. We also do wellness classes there as well. And I also sit on the SMATIC board representing Calvert County farmers. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
I am Mandy Lee. I own Mandy Lee's Vintage Shop and Studio here on Main Street, 2 doors down. I have gifts, and I say I have new, old, and everything in between. It's Larry Lamson's old building here. If anyone wants to visit after today's meeting, please feel free. I will be open. Thank you for having me. Being on Main Street will support in any way that Calvert County needs. Please feel free to reach out.
Thank you.
Good morning, Lydia Wells. I'm here representing the Department of Parks and Recreation. We have a number of hikes and some canoe and kayak tours this year with a historical theme. Then, of course, we'll be doing programs and events throughout the year and supporting any number of these events.
Hi, I'm Martha Kennedy with the town of Chesapeake Beach.
Savannah Richardson with the town of Chesapeake Beach.
And we're doing our annual fireworks display on July 3rd for the Twin Beach celebration. And we plan to make it a bigger event with more community involvement and activities and visible all throughout both Twin Beaches. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hello there. My name is Jeff Cunningham. I'm a social studies teacher at Huntingtown High School. I'm going to let these folks introduce themselves in a second, but I have two colleagues and a couple students here. We represent what I believe is, if not the only, one of the few clubs in all of Maryland dedicated to Maryland 250. Just so you understand, back in 2023, when really we started this in preparation, we were pretty disheartened when we asked our students at Huntingtown High why Maryland is called the Old Line State, and none of them could tell us. That needed to change. So we have really dedicated ourselves to research and education in the community. These students here have teamed up with Maryland State Archives, Owen Laurie, who's been a researcher on the Maryland 400 and the role of not only Marylanders but Calvert County folks, especially the 5th Independent company that had 15-year-olds and 14-year-olds that went up and fought in New York from Calvert County. They've done archaeological exhibits with Jefferson Patterson Park, and we're continuing to do some this spring. I'll let Ms. Trainer talk about some of the collaboration we've done with other groups. But the last thing I want to say, a shameless plug, we are working to culminate a trip to Brooklyn in the end of April. We have an opportunity to do a 4-hour walking tour of the Battle of Brooklyn, where the Maryland 400 laid down their lives, and to work with the Brooklyn Public Library and Historical Society to look at artifacts from the actual battle itself. I don't know if you heard, but public education is a little short on funds. So if you want to check out our website and other stuff we have through Calvert 250 to support us, we'd greatly appreciate that. And I'm going to allow these folks to quickly just introduce themselves. We want to start with my colleague, Jamie Peretti.
Jamie Peretti, core lead at Huntington High School. I support Jeff. I provide the things he needs to be successful and help the students with a lot of the research.
Hi, my name is Amy Trainer, and I'm the Cultures and Cuisines teacher at Huntingtown. And in the spring, Jeff came to me asking if my students could cook some food, some culinary creations that had to do with the Maryland 250, and I was super eager to jump onto that. And we did research of Maryland 250, all the historic types of culinary cuisines around the state, and then we got to feed all of these lovely high school students different things like Smith Island cake and all sorts of fun stuff just right in our home ec classroom.
I'm Eden Clara, a senior at Huntingtown, and I've been a founder of this club. And I've worked on a lot of the research, especially around the Battle of Long Island, where the Maryland 400 laid their lives. And also I've helped with creating the museum exhibits for both the Calvert Library one and the one that's going to soon, hopefully, be at the North Beach Museum.
Thank you. I am Nicholas Mazzella. I'm in 11th grade, and I've been with the Calvert 250 Club for 3 years since my freshman year. And can I just say, when we started getting the food from Mr. Trainer, it was amazing. It was actually really good. But yeah, I've been helping with research, and I've contributed to a lot, or at least some of the exhibits that have been going up around the county. Thank you.
Come on up, please. Come on up.
Morning, Carrie Wilson, Executive Director of Calvert Library. You've already heard library mentioned a couple times. We'll be doing classes and events throughout the year, and especially want to highlight the Chesapeake the Chesapeakers, the Questers, are doing a program on February 21st called Buttons, Buckles, and Bayonets, Revolution-Era Attire. So partnering with Jefferson Patterson to bring in artifacts and tying together what people wore during battles. So thank you all for doing that. It's exciting, but there's going to be all sorts of great stuff throughout the year, so keep an eye on your library events newsletter. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Sarah Frey. I'm in economic development with Hillary as a program assistant. Thank you again for everyone for participating today and coming. We really appreciate it.
Come on up. Let's put the sign in the middle. Okay, is that it? Well, I want to thank all of you for being here today. I am a big history buff. My husband and I were just in Richmond, and we did a lot of touring there. I'm reading Ulysses S. Grant's memoirs, and oh my gosh, I don't know how he remembered everything with all the battles and so on and so forth. Also, DAR, I promise I'm going to do it this year, but you're going to stay on me, please, please. When we celebrated our bicentennial, I had just given birth to our second child, and I had to watch Frank go out the door every day for I think about 4 or 5 days. His brother was a U.S. Park policeman at the time, so he was able to get Frank and Marisa really good tickets to enjoy all the festivities, and I'd be sitting there with the baby watching them go out the door and wished I could be a part of it, but watched it on TV. And you better believe I'm going to immerse myself in this celebration, because what an experiment our country is. And it's an experiment that has been successful. We're not perfect, but boy, I challenge anybody to say we aren't the best there is. So thank you all so much for all that you're doing to put this on. So I have a citation here for you. Okay. Whereas on July 4th, 1776, the Continental Congress adopted the Declaration of Independence, setting forth the founding principles of liberty, equality, and self-governance, and launching the great American experiment that continues to shape our nation and inspire the world. Amen. Whereas the year 2026 marks the 250th anniversary of that historic moment, an occasion to honor the generations who have built, defended, and advanced the promise of America, including those in the Calvert County community. And whereas Calvert County, founded in 1654, holds a proud and enduring place in our shared national story, from its early colonial roots to its deep maritime traditions, from the stewardship of its natural beauty along the Chesapeake Bay to the civic pride of its residents. And whereas the American 250 commemoration invites all Americans across every town, city, and county to reflect on our nation's journey, reckon with our complex past, celebrate local heroes in history, and envision a stronger and more united future. And whereas the people of Calvert County have long demonstrated the value of service, perseverance, and community that define the American spirit and contribute meaningfully to the nation's culture, economic, and democratic life. Now therefore be it proclaimed, the Board of County Commissioners of Calvert County, Maryland, proclaim the year 2026 as the 250th anniversary of the United States of America, and call upon all residents, schools, organizations, and community groups to join in commemorating America 250 through educational initiatives, civic engagement, historic preservation, and celebrations that reflect the rich heritage and bright future of both our county and our country, given under our hands and sealed this 13th day of January 2026, signed by all 5 of your county commissioners. Thank you all. always in the list.
If anyone has their phone again, so they can get it on the camera and ahead of time, we'll just get a line going.
Oh, she's back out.
Rosalind, what you could do too is once you take the good picture, we can send it out to everybody. Hillary can share it.
Yes.
That's a good idea.
Yes, yes. So there will be a picture below. Where to come?
So after this picture gets all fancified, I'll be sending it to Hillary, and then Hillary will be able to send it to all of you. It'll be a giant folder so you can use it in whatever publications you choose.
Right.
Make sure you can see. I did not catch everyone's name. Perfect. Lydia and the person near, Lydia, if you can scoot a little to your right, and if you can scoot a little, too much. You can go back a little bit. I appreciate everyone's patience. This is such a big thing. I want to make sure everyone's recognized in the photo. You guys don't have to smile yet. It's taken us 250 years to get to this point. I don't want to mess it up. We got it. We got it. Thank you all again so much for your patience. Here's your chance to blink. 3, 2, 1. Oh, I had to reset the camera before. One more for good luck. All right.
Forgot all these cell phones.
So Haley will send it to everybody. If your phone is up here, your phone is up here.
How have you been?
Thank you for posting all the history stuff on Facebook.
Oh, with the book?
With everything. Pull them back. You want. Just don't know where they're living.
Right. No, you're right. Thank you. Good to see you there, Joe Smith. I'm good seeing you.
Good seeing you. Yes, will do. Hey, how you doing?
No. See you again.
Thank you, man. You keep Mr. Cunningham straight?
You know what? Him and I both have retired.
Thanks, sir. I'll see you.
She did. She's out there.
Oh, cool. Who's dog? Good boy. Yeah, really? He loved it, though. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
We just went to the store.
So if you'd like to come, just send me a couple things because I've got other groups coming in, and I'd like to see you all.
All right, so that brings us to our next proclamation, Radon Action Month. Commissioner Cox.
Won't be as exciting.
Okay, yeah, because we're not dedicating anything on March, so.
Good morning.
All right. Morning. Good morning. Good morning.
So before we get started,
How many in the room has had their home tested for radon? Show of hands. Great, great. And how many know they have a radon vent in their home? Very good. All right. Please introduce yourself and come on to the mic.
Thank you very much. I'm Avi Barr, the current chair of the Environmental Commission for Calvert County, and we have some of our commissioners here with us.
Jim Levin.
Hi, I'm David Campbell.
Jeanette Wysocki.
And we're here today to help you announce that this is the month for radon testing. Very important thing to happen today and forever because of our geology, the soil, the makeup of our soil. Its heavy concentration of uranium creates that radon gas that we don't see, we can't smell it. It's in our basements, comes through the cracks, but it's easily abated. And that's what you were referring to earlier, is that we have to have our homes tested. And it's a very important leading cause of lung cancer for people who don't know that. So it's a very simple test. We have some tests here for, have you had your houses tested yet? Anybody here on the board? I have a radon test for you.
Okay, very good.
Come on up.
Come on up. Please introduce yourself and come on up. Good to see you.
How are you?
Good to see you, sir. Appreciate it.
I'm Dave Campbell. Just want to say, another thing that we do, we kind of in addition to everything else, we kind of supplement the Department of Health because we want to make the citizens of Calvert County aware of environmental hazards to their health. Thanks.
Very good. Thank you.
You want something?
My name's Jim Levin. I've been fortunate enough to be a member of the Environmental Commission for 6 years now. Appreciate the opportunity to serve the community. Would remind the county commissioners that in part the Environmental Commission was established in order to provide environmental advice and consultation to the county commissioners on environmental issues of concern to them. Wanted to reinforce the idea that the Environmental Commission is anxious to serve and available to address any concerns that you may have.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
My name is Jeanette Wysocki, and I am a new appointee to the commission, joining just at the end of last year. I have experience with environmental education in Calvert County Public Schools. So I just wanted to point out that the commission has done a great job building FAQs that are on the commission website that can answer a lot of questions, especially there's one about radon. So visit the commission webpage and look up for the FAQs to learn more about environmental issues that we're addressing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sampling of the great minds we have on the commission.
We appreciate your service.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So we thank you all for coming in today and just giving us a briefing on this. You know, you cannot smell it, but it's very easy to mitigate it. There's contractors out there. If you do find it in your home, it's very easy to be mitigated, and it's something we should not take lightly. So thank you all for what you do and for coming in today. And I do have a citation for you today, and it reads like this. Whereas radon is an odorless, colorless, natural occurring radioactive gas found in Maryland. Whereas radon is the second leading preventable cause of lung cancer. The EPA estimates that radon causes about 21,000 cancer-related deaths in the U.S. per year, 2,900 of these deaths occurring among people who have never smoked before. And whereas elevated radon levels are found in homes entering through cracks and basements, lower levels posing a serious health threat to families if not addressed. And whereas any home may have elevated levels of radon, which can pose a significant risk of developing lung cancer similar to the risk associated with smoking regularly. And whereas the Calvert County Environmental Commission would like to raise awareness of dangers of radon gas and educate the public that testing their home is only way to know if radon problem exists. Testing is easy and expensive, and if elevated radon levels are found, the problem can easily be abated. Now, therefore, it be proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners of Calvert County, that the month of January 2026 is recognized as Radon Action Month. Be it further proclaimed that Calvert County citizens are urged to become aware of radon's risk and test their homes for the presence of radon's gas and take abatement measures that are necessary to help protect their health and safety of radon gas. Given of the hands and seals this 13th day of January 2026, signed by all 5 commissioners. So there again, thank you for coming in today, and thank you for all you do.
And scoot about 1 step to your left. Maybe 1 more step to your left. Perfect. 3, 2, 1. 1 more for luck. Thank you so much.
Thanks, sir. Thanks, sir. Thank you, sir. Good to see you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. What's good? Thanks. Thank you. All right. Bye-bye now.
Okay, that takes us to our consent agenda. There's 3 items on a consent agenda today. Item number 1, Department of Economic Development, Maryland 250, once in a generation grant application. Item number 2, Department of Planning and Zoning, Historic Preservation Tax Credit 2025-07, Patuxent Manor. And item number 3, Department of Community Resources Mutual Assistance Agreement for Disaster Response. Have a motion?
Mr. President, I move that we adopt and approve the consent agenda items.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda items. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Brings us to a public hearing. Department of Planning and Zoning. Morning.
Good morning, Commissioner. Do you want to sit here, Ted? That way she cuts it quicker. Good morning, Commissioners. Jason Brinkley, Director of Planning and Zoning. To my right is Tamara Blake Wallace, Deputy Director of Planning, and to my left is Tay Harris, Long Range Planner. This is a public hearing for Chapters 1 and 2 of the Master Plan of Town Centers. The hearing was duly advertised and certificate of publication is made part of the record. Citizens are invited to provide comment after the presentation has concluded. Anyone here in person must sign in at the sign-in sheet located next to the county attorney to speak. Just as a reminder, this is a continuation of a earlier version of this from December. At this point, I'll turn it over to Tay Harris to walk through a short PowerPoint on the outstanding items from our last hearing.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tay Harris, Long Range Planning. Good to see you this morning. I'm going to wait until the PowerPoint powers up. It's right there. It's just right there. Okay, so today the Department of Planning and Zoning is here to continue the public hearing on the draft Prince Frederick Town Center Master Plan, which consists of Chapters 1 and 2 of the Master Plan of Town Centers. This is a continuance of the public hearing from December 2nd, 2025. So a brief timeline: on July 16th, 2025, the Planning Commission determined consistency with the Calvert County Comprehensive Plan. On September 30th, the board held a public hearing to consider the draft chapters for the Prince Frederick Town Center Master Plan update and voted to keep the record open. They voted to keep the record open so that the Department of Planning and Zoning could address comments regarding the build-out status of Calvert Town and Symphony Woods, as well as address language in the draft plan concerning APF for roads and mitigation if APF standards were not met. So on December 2nd, the board continued the public hearing from September 30th and voted to keep the record open for 30 days for additional comments. At the December 2nd meeting, the Department of Planning and Zoning confirmed that Calvert Town and Symphony Woods were built out, and they revised the language in the draft plan to reference the county code instead of specific language in the county code when it came to mitigation for roads for APF standards. And then today again, we are continuing the public hearing from December 2nd. We will be addressing questions and comments brought up by the board, and we will address them in the following slides. So there was a comment and a request to confirm when the board first voted for the realignment areas for the town centers, and this was done on August 6, 2019, when the Calvert County Comprehensive Plan was originally adopted. You will see that the realignment areas are outlined in red. Prince Frederick has 2 different realignment areas, and they are labeled 1 and 2. Does anyone have any questions? And then on November 29th, 2022, the board adopted an amendment to the comprehensive plan. And in this amendment, they eliminated the proposed Huntingtown, Leslie, and Solomon Town Center areas. They reduced the Prince Frederick Town Center area to the realignment area of 1 labeled in the previous slide. And then they retained the Dunkirk, Owings, and St. Leonard realignment areas. The second comment made by the board in December regarded where in the comprehensive plan does it state that the employment center zoned areas are to be included into the town center boundary of Prince Frederick. So on this slide, it demonstrates on page 3-19, the Calvert County Plan realigns the boundaries of the Prince Frederick Town Center to include the Employment Center, which currently share a border with the Town Center and the residential area southeast of the Town Center that is zoned residential, which includes Calvert Town and Symphony Woods. In addition to this reference, you can also find in the Calvert County zoning ordinance that, as highlighted in bold, that the Employment Center District will exist on a temporary basis. All EC districts are planned to be phased out following the updates of the Town Center master plans and zoning ordinances as recommended in the Calvert County Comprehensive Plan. The next comment made by the board was for the Department of Planning and Zoning to do an analysis on the development potential of the EC zoned parcels that are proposed to be included into the town center boundary. There are approximately 252 acres of these EC zoned lands. To the north, this is the Calvert Health site. There is no known development potential for this site. And to the west, approximately 50 to 60 acres are developable. And they should be circled in green, but they're not. It is, let me find the pointer. It's not going to work. So the area, it's actually easy to see where the steep slopes are, and that's where you can see a lot of the hatching of brown on those 2 maps to the right. Where there's dense brown hatching, that demonstrates steep slopes. So when you're looking at the map on the very right, and that's the western area of the EC zones, zoned parcels, where 231 intersects to the north and south, you can see a lot more pink in those parcels, and that means that land has more development potential than the areas with the characterized by the dark brown lines. which are steep slopes.
So, Tay, I think the question was, at that time, would it increase the density? So what's the current density in an EC?
So when you're talking about density, you're talking about residential development. Okay, the current density for the EC, what we have done in the next slide. Sorry, I think I'm going the wrong way. In this slide, we have provided the uses. So really, it's appropriate to talk about the uses in the EC versus the town center. So the differences would be the types of residential development. So this would be on slide 9, or slide 9 of the presentation. When you look at the town center, Prince Frederick Town Center residential uses, it allows for assisted living facility, bed and breakfast, up to 5 units, a dwelling accessory, duplexes, multifamily, attached to not attached to a non-residential, but townhouses, triplexes, quadplexes, and then single family, as well as manufactured homes and manufactured home community. But when you look at the employment center, it's very limited. It allows for bed and breakfast, up to two bedrooms, accessory unit, attached duplex, attached unit to a non-residential building, and then a group home. So there's limited residential uses that are allowed in the EC zone compared to the town center.
So just for clarification, the max density would be 4 dwelling units per acre. It's just the types of residential are more limited in a employment center district as compared to the town center.
Right. I think that's the point we sort of discussed last time, was that we changed density. It's 4 across the board.
Correct. It's just there are more limitations on the type of residential that would be allowed in an employment center.
Right.
But the actual density number itself would be 4 regardless of whether it's in a town center or not in a town center.
But an assisted living facility doesn't count against density?
Assisted living is a little different monster. It does count where they have certain number of units in the density for assisted living, which is usually a higher count.
And just to go back a little bit, the reason that it was proposed in the comprehensive plan to eliminate EC and just convert that all to TC was just for simpler zoning.
The EC district, since we've had it, we've never had a lot of development or interest in it. We've had interest in it, but the restrictions and conditions just never warranted for anybody to develop.
It's too restrictive.
Yes.
So the goal was trying to open that up.
To either turn it back into a different type of zoning or incorporate it into the town center.
Right. And it just affects those 50 or 60 acres?
Yes.
Well, I'd also like to add, if you look at the environmental constraints, specifically the steep slopes, there's also a right-of-way that cuts through down at the southern end and a little bit up through the west. They really prohibit development, so that's why you're looking at approximately 1/4 of the number of acres that are EC zoned that could actually be developed.
Right, but I think the underlying concern is that if we convert it to TC, it provide opportunity for more apartments.
It could, but we also, what we've proposed here, let me go ahead and get to, I believe it's the next. Sorry, I keep going backwards on this. So on this slide, you can see the existing proposed district map on the left. And that's when you have traditional suburban that would dictate what would happen in the EC zone layers right now. But on the map to the right, we have proposed a separate district or an additional district, and we would call that the Edge Commercial District. And in that district, we could define what is permitted there through the zoning ordinance. So it would be it could be different from the residential development that is currently allowed throughout the whole town center.
Or the commercial development.
Right, we can adjust that, both categories, all uses that we'd like to see in the Edge Commercial, to reflect less housing, if that's what the board is getting at.
I think that's the underlying concern amongst the board.
So if we could, at this time, we could change it from what it is now and make it Edge Commercial. And in making it Edge Commercial, we get rid of any possibility of apartments, townhouses, all of that, and we keep it a commercial area.
Correct. That's what staff's proposing as a way to have it basically transition into the town center, which has been the plan for the past several years. And as a way to make sure that we're not opening that door to that residential development that the board is not wanting to see.
Definitely, because Prince Frederick is very busy now. I don't want to see any more personal dwellings, period. Edge Commercial works for me.
And if the board chooses that route, this would likely be a substantial change that would need to go back to the Planning Commission to get to vet it through that process again, and then come back for another public hearing.
And it's just the 50 or 60 acres, just want to be clear.
It's just that just that EC area,
Right.
correct.
Okay.
The only thing I would add, guys, is where does it stop, though? So we only have so much real estate, and any more cars, period, whether it's residential, business, what have you. I've looked at these things several times, and there's always a reason to expand. You can always come up with a reason, but we still haven't mitigated all our traffic problems and everything else like that. And so that's my big concern with any expansion at this point. We're still playing catch up.
It's not an expansion.
So there's
what is it then?
So Commissioner, there's two areas in the county that this conversation essentially needs to happen, which is right here on the edge of Prince Frederick, and the other one is Owings. And I know we've talked about Owings and the future of what that would be, and that conversation is some months down the road on when we actually talk about that. But those are the two areas in the county that this conversation needs to happen, and so I don't know that you would open the door to where does it stop necessarily. It's these two particular areas are where that conversation goes.
But I mean, why do we need to change it?
It's my understanding that the need to change it would eliminate mixed use within there with businesses on the bottom, housing on the top. It would eliminate anything that is high. Well, we have the 4 acres, but it would eliminate townhouses and apartments. And if we convert it to the, let me look at it, the Edge Commercial, that would keep it all commercial. And Mike, I'm sorry, Commissioner Hart, it's my understanding that these town centers have already been designated, so this is within the town center, but what this is doing is changing a parcel that could be developed to commercial to keep the less cars, less people, so on.
So I
and
thought
so
it was.
forth.
I thought it couldn't do that now.
So now as employment center, that is a designation that is my understanding that came about in the mid-90s. And while I think there was good intent behind it, the execution of it has essentially meant that these parcels are in a no man's land where there's not enough things they can do that actually to develop that property, but also go in the other direction. There's not you can't have a single family home or anything necessarily built on it. So you're in this weird in-between limbo, which is where in 2019 and 2020, the comprehensive plan is recommending that those be folded into your town centers. And then as tapers, and in 2022, that was looked at even more refined. And now where we're basically at the door ready to consider the updates to the town center master plans, that's where this discussion is, just on these two parcels, because you've effectively have properties that are not usable in their current state.
So if we left it alone, they would just stay the way they are, though, right?
Well, if you left it alone, you can't adopt a Prince Frederick master plan, because I would suspect the Planning Commission would not find it consistent with the comprehensive plan, which says these areas are to be included in it. So you would have to have to go through an amendment process of the comprehensive plan.
So, Jason, that's where I'm lost here. So in discussion, it says right here that changing EC to TC is already in the comprehensive plan that's been voted on, correct? And it's also been voted on through the Planning Commission, and it's in the zoning ordinance to change it.
Correct.
So I'm kind of confused. Why are we here today if it's already been voted on? Can you?
We're here today to talk about the actual master plan document itself, the 10,000 or 30,000 foot view of what we want Prince Frederick to be.
Okay.
So if you want to do anything other than changing it to the town center, then you'd have to go back and change your zoning ordinance, your comprehensive plan, and everything. I think that the staff's recommendation is to have the conversation around, what do you want this to be? If you don't want residential, which is pretty clear the board doesn't, to put safeguards on it where you have commercial available there so that people can utilize their property, but you don't create the circumstance where you're creating additional housing and townhomes or apartments that I think the board doesn't want to see.
Now you can clear 50 acres and put more commercial.
Well, but your zoning can control whether it's a higher impact commercial or a lower impact commercial.
But right now, and that's where I guess maybe I'm just confused, right now, nothing can happen with it, correct?
There are uses, it's just so many restrictions at this time that it's not viable for.
I mean, because the push is to develop this, right? I mean, if it wasn't a push to develop it, we would just be leaving it alone, right?
Well, because they were incorporated into the town center, we are just trying to get direction as to what you all want to see in that area.
I mean, I don't know if anybody feels any better that if, say, there's another shopping center on the 50 acres, does that make you feel warm and fuzzy? I mean, or that's where I'm getting at. I'm trying to understand what's the goal here, because if we leave it alone, and maybe I'm completely wrong, like I'm with Commissioner Cox, I'm a little confused. If we leave it alone, then nothing happens. But if we change it to this, now all of a sudden commercial development can proceed.
But it's not aligned in our comprehensive plan as the Planning Commission voted on it.
Right.
We have to do.
So if you leave it alone, we're kind of in a deadlock on what we do with the Prince Frederick master plan, because we can't adopt it because it likely wouldn't be consistent, because the comprehensive plan says this is to be included. So it would require going back and changing the comprehensive plan, changing the zoning ordinance to still allow the EC, which it looks like has not worked since the 90s. So I think that the goal would be for people to be able to utilize their property. Now, what direction the board wants to go on that is really, and Commissioner, I'm going to give you an answer you're not going to like, but the devil's in the details as far as the zoning ordinance part of it,
Always
which right here, this is the 10,000, 20,000 foot view of setting the policy. If you say, okay, we want this to be commercial, but then what type of commercial is the next round of discussion, that if this plan gets adopted after Prince Frederick is adopted, then we're going to be having that zoning ordinance discussion about what particular uses do we want to see in this commercial district.
It always seems to be that way, though. It seems like, something gets approved without knowing really what's going to happen. And then when something comes that nobody likes, they go, well, it is approved for that anyway. And it always seems like it's kind of backwards, where it's not like we already know what's going to go there first and then make the decision to approve it. We open up the door, and then just like you said in the details, maybe it's a fast food restaurant. Like, where's exactly this parcel? So give me some visual, give me a landmark.
Behind Walmart.
So behind Walmart. Could you potentially put, say, 3 more fast food restaurants there?
If the zoning ordinance allowed it.
Right. And what's that traffic pattern look like now? I mean, that's where I'm going with all of this, and I've watched this just develop over the years where it seems harmless. And sitting in here in a room like this where you go, well, we're just doing this. Commissioner Nutter used to always say, you do something over here, you affect something over there. And that's where I don't have a clear picture. Because, I mean, it's nobody's fault, but you can't truly tell me by opening up this door what would go there. Maybe it's a doctor's office, and that's very easy, you know. It's a few cars, but maybe it's a McDonald's.
So you could adopt this into the towns, I mean, it's town center. You could take the same uses that are in the EC now and keep those same uses. But like you said, you could make it smaller scale, like your commercial doctor's offices or salons or something like that, that has not a high impact development. So that's kind of where we define now what this zoning is going to be.
And I hate being difficult, so you go ahead and zone it that way, and you say, well, I'm going to define what the uses are, and we've said it many times. You know, I always call it any given Sunday, like in football, anything can happen. 3 people come in and go, well, you know, it's already zoned that way. We're just going to expand the usage, and 2 weeks later, you have what you know what I mean. And I'm not trying to be difficult, but it's just what I've seen over the years that if you just left it alone, you don't have this issue. And if the planning commission doesn't want to adopt it that way or has to change something, I mean, for me, so be it.
Yeah, this conversation brings to question for me, you say it's behind Walmart. If we went with this edge commercial, would Walmart be able to expand?
It's on the other side of the road, so it's not.
Oh, it's
up
on the
against-
other side
yeah.
of the road.
Yeah.
Okay, on the back side, okay. I don't,
And there's a topography-wise, we don't even know how many acres is actually developable in that 50, because that's where the pump station is, right?
It could be less than that 50 to 60. That was a.
That's just the gross size.
Commissioner Hance, to quote you one time before, that's a swag.
Mm.
So that gives you a ballpark figure, but the devil's in the details on what you're wanting to develop particularly and how that works and conforms to that particular track. What I will say is if the direction is to proceed on this edge commercial, by the time it comes back, assuming the Planning Commission gets their voice in it, we can have some draft of what potential uses would be by that time, so that we can say, okay, here's what we're doing, and here's what the next step actually looks like. Not theoretical, but like actual, here are the uses we want to see and what that use chart looks like, so that the zoning ordinance, we roll right into it and not you don't get into a situation, Commissioner Hart, where I think you're worried about, where you don't know fully what that next step is before you make a decision on the current one. But we could have some draft
and if
use
you think
tables.
about it, what has been the only successful brick and mortar that we've seen in the last few years? Like dollar stores, fast food. Blueprint's pretty much the same. You're not seeing, like, you know, people always go, you'll see on Facebook, what you'd like to see. It's almost like what you want from Santa Claus. They don't come.
The market's going to dictate.
They don't, you know, Amazon has dictated what the retail world looks like. So it's not like something opens up. Now, if I own that property, I'm the landlord, and these are the facts that nobody wants to hear. The landlord truly doesn't care what an area wants. He wants it rented. He wants it developed. He wants his money back. And if he believes that's a fast food restaurant or anything like that, that's the direction he's going to go. He's not going to take a poll of the community and go, what would you like to see? It doesn't work that way. He's going to say it's zoned for it. It's legal. I'm allowed to do it, and this is what I'm going to do. And if it impacts an area, so be it. And then not opening up another door back to when we just changed the adequate facilities ordinance. These traffic studies and stuff, we're supposed to have a C to go from that parking lot out to that major artery, but I've yet to see it really in detail yet to say no to anything. Seems like there's always a workaround, you know? So that's my biggest concern. Just doesn't, you know, when we don't have a clear path to say, okay, we do this and this is exactly what it is, I have concern.
If we leave it as is, what do we open ourselves up to?
You have a very, well, first of all, as I mentioned earlier, you wouldn't be able to pass a Prince Frederick master plan chapter without changing the comprehensive plan, which would be an option in changing the zoning ordinance, which is an option, and there's a timeline for that of approximately 6 months. I'm just throwing that out there. It could be 4 or higher or less. But otherwise, I think you'll have you have uncertainty that's going to create people that currently own those pieces of property. I'm going to stop short of saying anything from a legal implication, but it does raise some questions on you're not providing certainty as a governing body on what's supposed to be used for these properties.
Remind me again, did you get public comment on this particular issue?
I'll turn that back over to Tay I think we did have some public input on it over the past, since we were here last, because I know this was a point of conversation.
So there has been comment regarding just the length of time it has taken for the Prince Frederick draft plan, master plan to get to the adoption phase. We're in year number 7. And there's just been a lot of changes back and forth made to the formatting, what's been proposed. We basically rewrote the initial draft because it recommended residential growth. And as we were updating the plan, what came into fruition is that, which is in the plan now, there's several hundred units planned for development into the town center. So we had to do a U-turn and then discuss about accommodating the existing growth while we can catch up with infrastructure. So I do think the timeline, just the time it's taking to get this plan adopted, for a few of the property owners I've reached out in this area, it is a concern for them, an ongoing concern.
Okay, down Dares Beach Road, there's townhouses that are coming. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. On this side, where you turn off for Prince Frederick Boulevard, in that area, and I'm not very good spatially, so help me. Is more coming there as well? What does growth look like? I know what's going down Dares Beach Road, but what else are the people going to have to be dealing with?
Prince Frederick Boulevard, talk about that as well, too.
Yeah, Prince Frederick Boulevard, which is under construction now.
How many units are going there?
I don't have that in front of me. I think Tay has that. Do you have that information?
And that's the last phase of that project?
Yes.
It is we do have it in the
It's on a table.
plan. We do have a table in the plan as of a couple of months ago when that was created.
So it's on page, when you look at the resolution copy that is attached to this agenda item, it should be on page 96. Well, 96 of the document, not the electronic.
Yeah.
36. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on. I better put this on.
So the ECTC, going back to that, I read somewhere, I believe that EC was a temporary placeholder for an expansion of something that was going to become town center.
That was in the zoning ordinance.
That was in the zoning ordinance?
It's in our zoning ordinance currently that says that.
The one that we just
Correct.
did. Okay.
It's in the definition for ECTC.
Okay.
And Commissioner,
So Commissioner Hart, that's the issue, I guess. Sitting here contemplating all this. We worked on the comprehensive plan for 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
The planning commission voted on it. We voted on it. There was lots of changes. We worked on the zoning ordinance for a year and a half. All this is in those two documents that we've all voted on 3 times to say that that EC should go to TC. And yet here we are. And people wonder why government takes so long. But, I mean, if you change it to TC, how in this area can you restrict high-density development?
Which would be for identifying it as a sub-district, which is the edge commercial discussion that we were just having earlier.
So you convert it to town center, but you call it edge commercial?
And you can prohibit standalone residential or all residential, or however you want to put that restriction in there. But that was the potential solution that staff was suggesting as a way to provide safeguards like I believe some of the commissioners want regarding making sure that residential does not happen in that area, but also does fulfill the requirements currently in the comprehensive plan and in the zoning ordinance that become town center.
You can also add language into the draft master plan before it gets adopted for the intent of this edge commercial not to have residential and to have light commercial uses.
Right, but you just, I mean, and people, hey, everybody votes how they vote. I just know my position is just, years have just taught me, and sometimes the hard way. If I don't know exactly to the T what I'm voting on, I'm leaving it alone. I'm not leaving it up to ifs and potential or what have you. So, no disrespect to anybody.
So what's the staff's recommendation?
So staff's recommendation is that if the BOCC wants to restrict or prohibit residential, would be to redesignate that area as a sub-district called edge commercial. That would be a substantive change which would need to go back through the approval process. So we get input and hold a public hearing before a planning commission. And then assuming that they adopt some version of that, it would be back before you all in the coming months to have the discussion. My goal would be, and this is what I may have staff freak out about this, but my goal would be to have at least a working draft of what the zoning ordinance would look like for that particular area. This may help alleviate some of Commissioner Hart's concerns so that he has something to say, okay, I'm good with this, I'm not good with this. For that level of discussion, which would, like I said, be in the next few months.
So, since edge commercial doesn't exist, all that's going to be done through, what's that process look like?
So edge commercial would be a sub-district within the town center. So it can be added through this process, and then the zoning ordinance can identify what exactly, when we update the zoning ordinance specifically for Prince Frederick, the zoning ordinance would, it's the same way that some of the other sub-districts, such as traditional suburban and things that are outlined in this, need better definitions and uses as we get into the actual zoning ordinance itself. So it's not going to change, other than sending it back to Planning Commission and saying you want to include this in there. The approval process would not change after that point. So we don't have to go back to the comprehensive plan. We don't have to go back to the comprehensive zoning ordinance. It would just be focusing on this particular Prince Frederick issue.
Through a text amendment.
Through a text amendment, which we have a chapter dedicated, ready to go to add that, because the goal was, instead of having 7 master plan or 7 zoning ordinance and the comprehensive zoning ordinance, you would have one with a chapter dedicated to Prince Frederick. That chapter has not been created yet because of this. It's waiting essentially on a updated master plan in order to create. So right now we're relying on the previous zoning ordinance.
And through that process, there's opportunity for public comment.
At each stage.
And then it comes back to us for final after we get all that.
That's correct.
What I want is, I would, to tell you the truth, I wish we could walk out of here today and say nothing else is going to happen in Prince Frederick, because every time I turn around, something else is happening, and I don't want to be a part of enlarging Prince Frederick any larger than it is with what's coming down the pike. I don't want to be responsible for more cars on the road. if I had my way, I'd say stop the whole darn thing. Because Prince Frederick is a mess. It's a mess.
But if you go back, town center was the concept that was approved a long time ago. And he's not here any longer, but Greg Bowen was the architect of that.
But I think,
And-
Commissioner Hans, nobody foreseen the way Calvert's history was that the high density would have come on the level that it has.
But it's always been zoned, Commissioner Hart.
It may
It's
have
always
been, but
zoned.
I don't think there was the foresight that, going back to Greg Bowen, what are we talking, probably 25, 30 years ago, maybe? Apartments weren't even talked about in this county, so the thought was, okay, well, we'll keep Calvert rural, and we'll preserve the farms and waterways and things of that nature, and any type of expansion will be in these designated areas. Nobody thought back then, I wouldn't think, that you would see the massive amount of units. You might have thought you'd have some single-family homes, but not, putting 50 homes is not like putting, 50 apartments. And so it's changed the game.
But we have done density because some of them areas were 25 and 30.
24.
24
was the max.
units per acre, and we've gone down
Sure.
to 4. So we have done our
For the
due
future.
diligence.
For the future, but the past has been the past, and so, so when you see the state of traffic as we see it today, to me it just feels like that bowl full of water that anytime you add to it just spills over now. It just doesn't seem like there's any more room for anything. I mean, we haven't addressed water and sewer issues, that are coming down the pike. Every single spigot that hooks into there, it changes things. So
I don't even think Greg Bowen would have envisioned this mess. When I first came on board, I asked, what have previous boards approved? What is coming down the pike? So when I talk with constituents, I can say to them, this is what is coming. But it seems like over the past 3 years, and we haven't done it because we haven't approved it, there's more and more and more. And we have to take the bull by the horns and say, hey, how much more can Prince Frederick take? And not only that, if we have 70% of our people leaving out of this county and going into Annapolis, Baltimore, and Washington, D.C., do you realize the traffic they hit just trying to get to the south end of the county? It's hellacious. I have to add an extra half an hour onto my commute when I come down here in the evening so I can make meetings on time, because I never know if I'm going to zip on through or if it's going to be a big traffic tie-up. And you go through and you look and you say, there wasn't even an accident. Why are we so backed up? So those are my feelings.
That's true. We should have shut it all down in 1975.
hey, there you go.
I graduated in 1973. We didn't have any traffic problems, and we should have shut it all down in 1973. And how many people would be here today? How many people sitting in this room right now would be here today if we'd have done that?
We have to be smart with what we do, though, because we don't want to pile on the people.
Some bad decisions have been made.
Bad decisions have been made, and we don't want to pile on.
No, we don't.
So, Jason, I don't think I'm going to take your recommendation, but I will have a motion for you, Mr. President. I'm going to make a motion that we direct planning and zoning and staff to modify the Prince Frederick chapter of the master plan for town center to designate the area employment center district as an edge commercial subdistrict within the town center, and to restart the review and approval process back to the planning commission so that we can iron all these questions out.
Have a motion, is there a second?
So I'll second your motion because at least if the motion passes, we'll have a process for citizens to comment.
And it goes back to the
Planning Commission and.
Correct.
Yes.
Discussion.
The only thing I'm open for is just to get some public feedback, but I don't want to do any designations whatsoever.
That's how you start the process to do that.
So you're saying this motion has no designation whatsoever? This motion is clearly to keep the record open for public comment?
Starts the process all over again.
It's more exploratory.
I mean, if that's what the motion is, I'm okay.
Back to the Planning Commission.
Yeah.
And you could, I mean, we could argue, I could argue that in the comprehensive plan and the Prince Frederick Master Town discussions, nobody zeroed in on this little area of Prince Frederick Boulevard. At least this motion will direct all the discussion on this small area, and let's just see what the citizens have to say.
And Commissioner Hart, this would necessitate at least one additional public hearing at the Planning Commission, and then another public hearing before the BOCC before adoption of anything.
So is that the motion? Is that how you're
That's
hearing it? That
restarting the
this is
approval process. So
purely
so-
keeping the record open for public comment.
it's not keeping the record open, but it's restarting the approval process. So we're going back to Planning Commission to explore and refine the edge commercial discussion that we had here, have a public hearing before them to find it consistent with the comprehensive plan, then come back for a public hearing before the BOCC. So you're talking about a probably 4 to 6 month timeline to be back in front of you all.
But it will come back here.
It will
'cause
come back
I've
here.
seen some things leave here, go to the Planning Commission, and then that's where it stays.
It will come back here for further consideration and another public hearing and then potential adoption.
I mean, I'm okay to set something in motion for public comment and for the Planning Commission to be able to look at this. But I don't want I don't want to change anything at this point.
So in a nutshell, we're starting over.
We're starting over, and the focus being this particular area is where we're seeking more public input, including Planning
okay
Commission
with
input
that.
and everything.
Okay.
I'm okay with
I
that.
can
If,
live
if
with
that's
that.
what if that's what that's saying.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That takes us to our next public hearing, Department of Community Resources Opioid Restitution Fund Budget Amendment. Do we accept public comment on this?
We did not. That's a good point, Commissioner.
Do we? Okay. I didn't know since it was going.
Technically, you're not voting on it anymore, so,
Okay.
but it's probably pertinent to allow that.
All right. Sorry about that, folks. Madam Attorney?
So the floor is now open for public comment on this.
We have to read a statement. Okay. Okay.
Joseph Cormier, and I apologize if I mispronounced the name.
That's fine. Go ahead, Mr. Cormier.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Joe Cormier. I'll be speaking on behalf of myself today. I want to thank staff for putting together that presentation. I am colorblind, so I did not see the green circles on that map. We've got this development on Dares Beach Road. I think they're putting another 20, 25 townhouses across from the courthouse. Again, I don't know what else Prince Frederick can add onto. And the map for Owings Town Center hasn't changed, and everybody who was sitting in that public meeting did not care for it. And why we want to expand commercial use into farmland and watersheds and historic forests, I'm sure Dashin would be, pleased as a pig in mud for that to happen. but nobody in Owings wants that to happen. We want that part of 260 to be slower, to be less congested. Let them go through Friendship or let them go all the way around to Mount Harmony to get to the beaches. If you want to have a town center in Owings, put it on 260 from the Echo Thrift Shop and the Foot Care, Neely's Auto Care, out to Ace Hardware, and let them be the anchor for it.
Mr. Cormier, we're strictly public comment to this presentation.
And the Owings Town Center was on that presentation, ma'am. Thank you. So as we move forward, please take public comment into consideration, because right now from the presentation that was put together today, it feels like they didn't take our public comment at all. We don't know what property in the current town center in Owings doesn't perk. We don't know what properties in the current town center, like SMO, are hazardous waste and can't be used. We don't know what is in a river watershed that's eroding out. So please work with staff to make sure that they take public comment into consideration, because right now it doesn't feel like you guys are listening. Have a great election year.
Myra Gowans.
Oh, okay. That's it.
That's it.
Public comment last year.
All right. That's it? Nobody online?
Not at this time.
All right. Try this again. Move on to our second public hearing, Department of Community Resources, opioid
Thank you,
restitution,
guys.
fund budget amendment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jennifer Moreland, Director of Community Resources, and I'm here today to discuss the Opioid Restitution Fund Budget Amendment. Background: the Department of Community Resources supports the administration of the opioid restitution funds as the liaison to the opioid prevention team and implementing the local abatement plan, and as the liaison to the Maryland Office of Overdose Response on behalf of Calvert County Board of County Commissioners. The county has received more than $1.3 million in opioid restitution funds in response to the impacts of the opioid epidemic to support eligible uses outlined in Appendix E of the National Settlement Agreement. Discussion. The Department of Community Resources recommends a budget amendment adjustment in the amount of $154,500 for the fiscal year 2026 to support the first annual distribution of opioid restitution funds, which is distributed from January to December. 6 applications were submitted, totaling approximately $309,000 in requests. Only $154,500 is requested to ensure adequate funding for FY 2026. Fiscal impact. Budget amendment BA 2026-000528 reallocates $154,500 of existing revenue within the opioid litigation fund to the miscellaneous type expense spend category. This action increases total appropriations and aligns available funding with the correct spending structure required for opioid settlement program administration. Establishing this spend category will allow all payments associated with approved and awarded opioid mitigation funds to be processed appropriately and in compliance with program and expenditure reporting requirements. Conclusion recommendation. Staff requests that the Board of County Commissioners conduct a public hearing on the proposed resolution and budget amendment BA 2026-000528 in accordance with Local Government Article 9-105. Any action by the board to adopt the recommended budget adjustment must be deferred until at least 10 days after the hearing. So, today's hearing is just for the purpose of opening the record for public comment. On the budget adjustment, the county has adopted guidelines for conduct at public hearings as detailed in Resolution 6-89. This hearing will be executed in compliance with that resolution. The hearing has been advertised and duly, and does not appear that we have any people signed up. Are there any on the phones?
Not at this time.
Not at this time. Commissioners, did you have questions for me?
What kind of organizations are applying for this?
Nonprofits, government entities. However, we did also have a business that applied. They are not eligible. They applied on behalf of county agencies, but that is not an eligible use of funds. They need to go through our procurement. A county agency would have to go through our procurement process to request, to go about that. So actually what our recommendation is, which will come on the 27th, is that funding be set aside in a training budget for opioid. Basically, it's to prepare your first responders for how to deal with opioid situations, remediation.
All right. It appeared last year our total number of overdoses was actually down. However,
Yes.
our youth overdoses are up. So it's going to be constantly
Yeah,
changing.
it will
The
be.
focus is going to have to change on how we're going to address.
It will. And that's why doing an annual grant process like we started is preferable, because if we do have to change our focus, we can. There's the key areas under the abatement plan that we're allowed to dedicate funding to. And we've stayed completely compliant with those areas under the national agreement, our state settlement agreement. So, and they're restrictive. They really limit you to opioid-related prevention, treatment, response, safety, but they're very limited areas.
Awareness?
Yeah, yep.
How's that?
And that would be part of your Yes, yeah, that would be built into your prevention. Harm reduction is another part that the state, obviously has focused greatly on. But, I think for a county like Calvert County, we don't have a whole lot of providers doing this work. And so when you see the applicants at the next meeting, they're going to be the key providers that are already, doing this kind of response effort in the community. We did have some that didn't apply and chose instead to apply under the Community Reinvestment and Repair Act funding, because that funding is broader in its use. So whereas the state really stresses evidence-based practices for the opioid restitution funds, you don't have to have an evidence-based practice with the Community Reinvestment and Repair Act funding. So some of our prevention programs that aren't evidence-based, they're more community-based, mentoring, education type programs. Those actually applied under the Community Reinvestment and Repair Act funding.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So this is an emergency arm for the county, correct? Would
Our-
you say that?
Are you talking about the opioid prevention team?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, MORE is the Maryland Office of Overdose Response.
Mm-hmm.
They require that each county has an opioid prevention team.
Mhm.
And I serve on that team on behalf of you.
And they provide support to us.
Yep.
Okay.
So they'll respond and let you know what the needs are. For a number of years, that team, was led by Dr. Polsky.
Mm-hmm.
And those of you might remember, he came in pretty regularly to give presentations on the opioid overdoses. That has not, Dr. Tanisa Moore actually did do a presentation this past year. And as often as you want that to happen, we're certainly, we can make that available to you. Yep, it's good to keep your pulse on the issue for sure.
Thank you.
Sure.
Motion?
Mr. President, I move that we leave the record open for 10 days pursuant to Local Government Article 9-105.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to leave the record open for 10 days pursuant to Local Government Article 9-105. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Takes us to new business. Department of Technology Services, approval of multi-year contracts for phone system maintenance. Steve?
Good morning, Commissioners. Stephen Pereira, Director of Technology Services.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Silcox, Network Supervisor, Technology Services.
Morning.
Morning.
So the phone system sits underneath John, basically. So he's the technical expert. So if you've got any hard questions, please direct them to him. I will read out the memo for you. Background. The Department of Technology Services, TS, is responsible for the support and maintenance of software and technology systems used throughout Calvert County government. Discussion. TS is in the process of renewing 3 maintenance contracts which cover the numerous locations utilizing the Voice over Internet Protocol, VoIP, phone system used by Calvert County government, CCG. These technical support contracts provide remote support and, when necessary, on-site support for both hardware and software associated with the county's VoIP system. Services include on-site hardware parts replacement and the replacement of telephones and servers. By entering into a multi-year contract, CCG secures consistent pricing throughout the duration of the contracts, ensuring both financial stability and operational efficiency. Fiscal impact. The total cost of the new contracts will be $287,565.10. The payment for year one will be $96,251.26, which is budgeted in Technology Services Contracted Services account. Conclusions and recommendations. Staff request that the Board of County Commissioners review and, if appropriate, approve and adopt the resolutions authorizing 3 multi-year contracts for Avaya phone software. Staff further recommends awarding the contract to Avaya for the initial contract term and authorizing the county administrator to execute each contract and any subsequent renewal approved by the board. Coordination with the Office of County Attorney and the Department of Finance and Budget. Do you have any questions?
How much has this gone up from the last time we signed the contract?
That's a wonderful question. I don't have that number in front of me.
It's okay. That's
I can
okay.
get that for you, but I don't believe-
Because everything's going up, I was just kind of curious as to how much it had gone up.
We have also built a new building, so there's a lot of additional phone lines that we put online.
Sure.
We have added a lot of stations, yes.
Okay.
Is this the same contractor we had before?
Yes.
Avaya,
So it's
okay.
renewal.
Yep.
We're quite happy with the service that they've been provided, and we've not really been getting any complaints about the system. It is a reliable system, so.
Motion.
Mr. President, I move the board to approve and adopt a resolution authorizing the multi-year contracts of Avaya software. Staff further recommends awarding the contracts to Avaya for initial contract terms and authorizing the county administrator to execute each contract and any subsequent renewal approval by the board.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second.
Can I ask a question? Is this
Sure, discussion, go ahead.
appropriate? Okay. It appears if we go with the 3-year contract as opposed to 1 year, the initial contract, we will save approximately $1,000. Do you recommend we go with the 3-year contract to save money?
That is why we're moving to more and more long-term contract, because not only do we save money on the initial contract, we're then not bound to typically price escalations which are between 5 and 10%, and those are often written into contracts as a standard.
Okay.
So yes,
And
so
you
it
al-
will save more than $1,000.
Okay. You feel very good about this company if we locked into 3 years?
We are effectively locked into this company anyway.
Okay.
We've spent, how much have we spent upgrading the system? We've spent significant amounts of money upgrading the system. To replace this system, we would be looking at a 7-figure sum. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay. I'd like to go with the 3-year contract.
So you want to amend your motion?
Yeah, I can do that. So you want to take out, it's the same price, correct? If we, that
So-
first
so I-
year is locked in, and it's just locking us in that we can perform that second and third year at the same cost.
Yes.
So yes.
So Madam Attorney, will that multi-year contract phase that's included in that motion take care of the 3 years?
The way that the motion is now on the floor, it would take care of those 3 years. We're
Okay.
talking about the multi-year, which is required by the
Okay.
Title VI of the Public Local Laws.
Okay, so the motion stands as is.
Yes,
Good, good.
that encompasses that.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to extend the contract multi-years for the Avaya software and awarding, staff also recommends awarding the contracts to Avaya for the initial contract terms and authorizing the county administrator to execute each contract and any subsequent renewal approved by the board. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioners.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day.
Thank you, Steve.
Have a good day. It takes us to, under new business, Department of Planning and Zoning, priority funding area certification request in North Beach. Back again.
Hello, I'm Tay Harris. I'm the Long Range Planner for the Department of Planning and Zoning, and to my right is Tamara Blake Wallace, and she is the Deputy Director of Planning and Department of Planning and Zoning. And today we are here again to talk to you about a priority funding area certification request in North Beach. See if I can get the buttons right this time. Okay, so the Calvert County Department of Health, Environmental Health Division recently approached the Maryland Department of Environment regarding a failing septic system just outside North Beach's municipal boundary at 3690 on 3rd Street. The Department of Health's Environmental Health Division would like to access state funds to connect the property to the public sewer system. The most expedient way to accomplish this would be to designate the area as a priority funding area. So the Maryland Department of Planning has advised the Department of Planning and Zoning that the proposed PFA certification area, which includes 3690 3rd Street, qualifies for this designation under Maryland Code Finance and Procurement Article, Section 5-7B03D1. It qualifies for a PFA area because it is designated a growth area on our 2017 growth tier map, which is included in the 2019 Calvert County Comprehensive Plan. It also qualifies because it is designated as S1 and W1 in the Calvert County Comprehensive Water and Sewerage Plan. As required by the Land Use Article Section 1-304, the Planning Commission is required to determine that this PFA certification request is consistent with the Calvert County Comprehensive Plan. And on December 17th of 2025, they did determine this. Because the area is designated a growth area on the 2017 growth tier map and is included in the 2019 Calvert County Comprehensive Plan. So based on the findings and the Planning Commission's determination of consistency, the Department of Planning and Zoning recommends that the Board of County Commissioners certify that the PFA certification request area required under MD Code Financial Procurement Article Section 5-B08 be certified.
So I do have a couple questions. If we go back to slide number 2. So just a question of why are we eliminating the 2 white blocks, one up top and one on the west side on this purple block here?
So the area on the north, it has wetlands, and there's environmental constraints that development would not happen there. And then the area to the west, I believe has, I'd have to get back to you on that, but it has other type of constraints. And just to be clear, MDP did do an analysis, and they determined that these areas did not qualify based on, I guess it's density, because they're in the PFA. For this area to be designated PFA, it has to have at least 2.5 units per acre, and it has to be designated or served S1. So these 2 areas did not meet those 2 or 1 or 2 of those criteria based on the MDP analysis.
Okay, and then if you go to slide 3, same question. We have that one little block at the top left, and it seems like they were just knocked out of the area. I didn't know for what reason or what. On the left side?
On the left side, on the map on the left-hand side, you're saying?
Yes.
I'm not sure. Are you asking why it's not in the PFA or
Correct. Correct.
On the top left? I'm not
Yeah,
sure
but
where you're.
The circle does not encumber that one area, and I've just had a question on why that one area at 11 o'clock did not.
The red area?
Yes.
The red area?
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Okay. So my other question I have is environmental health or planning and zoning, are there other areas in the county that we are looking at to becoming one of these areas of failing septics?
Not immediately. I am aware that in our water and sewer plan, we have areas designated as failing septic system areas, but they're not in those areas are not in the process of being designated PFA to receive state funds.
Okay. And out of the state funds, I'm taking for granted they're coming from the Bay Restoration Fund, or what part of the state fund is it coming from?
I would have to check with MDE on that. MDE is the one that they have funds that they allocate for failing septic system areas. And I don't know if it's a state revolving loan fund or if it is Bay Restoration funds. They do use Bay Restoration funds to upgrade septic systems to nitrogen removing
And that
systems.
was my question. What fund was it coming out of within the state? Okay.
Any other questions? Good motion.
Mr. President, I move that we certify the PFA certification request area as required under Maryland Code, Finance and Procurement Article 5-7B08.
Second.
So a motion and a second that we any discussion? So a motion and a second that we certify the PFA certification request areas required under Maryland Code, Finance and Procurement Article 5-7B-08. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That takes us to presentation. Department of Human Resources, Calvert County Police Accountability Board 2025 year-end report presentation.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I am Melanie Woodson, Human Resources Director, and I am here today to introduce to you the chairs for our PAB and ACC. I have Ed Baylor and Susan Justice, and today they will be giving you the Police Accountability Board Administrative Charging Committee end-of-year report. I don't think I need to read the memo. I'll hand it off to them, and the sheriff will be joining them here at the table.
The sheriff's right there.
Oh,
So
the
take
sheriff
care
is
of
there.
it. Stay right where you're at.
Well then, how do you?
They're looking for the clicker. Uh-oh.
Sheriff?
We have a theft.
Charge of theft.
Lock the building down.
I think she's unarmed. We're safe.
So is this the same as?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I think we're ready now. The first part of this, I'm just going to briefly go through. It's been 3.5 years now since these boards have been in effect. So it's more of a review. So the act, as you're aware, came out in 2021. It's Maryland Police Accountability Act. And it basically designed and developed civilian boards to oversee police accountability. 3 boards were created. The Calvert County Commissioners created Resolution 07-22 in conformance with the Act. And the Police Accountability Board, which is a 9-member, and all designated by the Commissioners. The Administrative Charging Committee is 5 members, 3 designated by the Commissioners, 2 by the Police Accountability Board. And then you have a trial board, which is a retired judge designated by the Commissioners, a civilian designated by the Police Accountability Board, and then the Sheriff's Office will designate an officer equal in rank to the officer that has filed for the trial. The Police Accountability Board, we meet quarterly, and it is, again, a civilian board. I will forget that. Oh, it is in front of me, sorry. It's a strictly civilian board, and we work for reform for police discipline and oversight in Maryland, and this way it is a civilian, not a police-led. We work very closely with the Sheriff's Office on all issues. They attend our board each quarter that we meet. They're there. They do a presentation, and we have a lot of question and answers. The Administrative Charging Committee, they meet monthly, 5 members. The Sheriff's Office provides a complaint. There is a complaint form, complaint process. It goes through the Police Accountability, which comes into HR. It's forwarded to the Sheriff's Department, and then they have an investigation team that works on that. They provide all information to the Administrative Charging Committee. We get body cams, we get visuals, we get phone conversations, interviews, reports. If there is a specific act or something that has come down from the state's attorney's office in reference, they provide that to us as well. And then we have access to their policies. And we have all of this to go through and review to determine if there is any misconduct on the police officer's part. If there is a statewide matrix system that we're required to go through, and it's different categories. And in those categories, the Administrative Charging Committee, ACC, can choose a discipline. It is sent to the Sheriff's Office. They cannot go less than that, but they can go more severe within that specific category. We do have a trial board. We did have 1 case go to trial last year. When we did refresher training last year, just as a reference, we heard Montgomery County had 50 cases waiting to go to their trial board. So we are very fortunate. Things are resolved here in the county. They are accepted between the sheriffs, the ACC, and the officer. 1 did go through trial board, so. And that they only meet if there is an officer wishing to go to trial board. As you can see, these are the members. And they are on a rotating schedule. And they are all citizens of the county. So one of the biggest things with the boards is building trust, not only with the Sheriff's Department and his officers, but also with the citizens within the community. We participated in there's a police executive research forum, and we participated in that. They ask that all law enforcement entities in the entire state provide specific information to them. They are a nonprofit, but they're trying to come up with their own trends as far as what's happening and what's occurring within the state. There were only 13 law enforcement entities that provided information. Calvert County was one of those. Some of the recommendations that came out of that was develop a comprehensive guide for managing officer-involved critical incidents, enhance officer staffing and training in order to meet community needs, and improve police response to mental health issues. One of the things with the mental health is we had asked the sheriff's office in our last meeting in November about the mental health, if there was someone that the officers could contact if needed, if they felt that there was a situation. The state does provide funding to all counties, but they have put Southern Maryland, 3 counties, as one entity. So the funding is split between the 3 counties, and there is only one individual at the moment that is able to, as designated as a health person, to give response, and that person's in Charles County. So the officers, there is a crisis intervention training. It's 40 hours, and at this point, approximately 70% of the officers have completed this training, and that's an ongoing until they get all of them through it. So that will help with any crisis intervention that they may come into contact with. Some of the recommendations: evaluate, analyze. We've talked each year of trends, and this last year we put trends together, which you'll see and we'll discuss briefly. We need to make sure that whatever we're doing, we provide consistent and impartial review of a citizen's complaint against officers. And that's where we sit and we go through absolutely everything. The sheriff's office also has an officer that is on standby when we have our meetings, that we can call them if we need a clarification. If they cannot address that clarification, then we send it back to them for further investigation to provide us any information that we feel as a board that we need. So that works very well in that aspect. And the sheriff's office and their staff definitely actively support all these boards. They work with us, and it's to everyone's benefit, not only the sheriff's department, but the citizens of this county. Trending. We've switched everything to end on November 19th as a conformity. You can see here on the trends, the first one is like 4 months, because that's when it first started. We end on November 19th. And each year you can see the trending of the complaints, those that are reviewed, and those that policy was violated. Now, there's multiple reasons why we wouldn't review one. The sheriff's office hasn't completed their investigation. It was prior to July 1 of 2022. It was not specified against an officer. It didn't represent misconduct. They were maybe sending in a complaint. They didn't like getting the citation they got. That has to go to court. That's not something we can deal with. We deal strictly with misconduct, potential misconduct. Or there's ones that involve the detention center, which we cannot deal with. They have their own entity to deal with that. It's Maryland State Police or the state's attorney. So those are sent to those entities when they come in. But you can see the trending is looking better as it's going through the years. There's a lot of work on that, and part of that with the policy violated is when things occur, and we worked up different policies, the ones that were being cited by the ACC on the officers, and the sheriff has worked with his personnel to make changes. One of the big ones we came across was body cams, but body cams haven't always been there. It was a new tool for them to use. So there were times that they were forgetting to activate, or batteries forget to charge. So in the beginning with the body cams, there was a lot of issues going on with that. And through training and constant working with his individuals, we don't see anything on a body cam violation anymore. This one is trending with the districts. And as I sat and listened to all the conversations today, population is the greatest in District 2, Prince Frederick area. It's where most people are. It's where people are traveling from north to south and vice versa. It's like a crossroads. Everybody's coming into that area. So it's pretty natural, and a lot of the shopping is there. It's pretty natural that those trends would be higher. One of the things that we worked with the sheriff's office on is the calls of service that they have versus the complaints, and trying to determine what we were coming up with in a percentage. Because if you think of all the calls that the officers go on daily, monthly, yearly, it's an awful lot. Last year it was over 110,000 and they had 32 complaints. Well, that percentage figures out to 0.03% of complaints versus calls they go on. I had talked to Wayne Silver, who is at the Maryland Standards, Training and Standards Division. We were discussing, and he asked if I knew how our complaints were running. And he said, that's absolutely nothing. That's absolutely nothing compared to the rest of the state. So that speaks well, not only of our citizens, but it also speaks well of the sheriff's office in the training and retraining. And last year we asked them to produce or discuss at one of our meetings the amount of training that officers have to go through on a regular basis. And we were very surprised. It is immense, the amount of hours that they go through. And the things that are recommended to them by the PAB, which comes out of a lot of the ACC cases that we review, they've made the changes. Whether it was a policy change, whether it was a training change, they've made those changes. And I think that that speaks well in these percentages as well. So, policy recommendations, we requested any internal complaints. We hadn't seen those. If there were any, officer against officer complaint, and requested that those be processed through to the ACC. One thing that can occur that the law allows for a citizen or an officer, when they have a complaint, if they mediate it at the police station, they can mediate it together. If both parties agree on that mediation, then that complaint does not come to the ACC. It is done with. Another thing that we were seeing is if a citizen requests a supervisor, then the officer is required to get a hold of a supervisor, but they need to let the citizen know kind of a time frame. That officer might be involved in another accident. It may be 45 minutes to an hour. If it's a fatality, it could be 2 or 3 hours before they get there, depending on where that supervisor is located. So they need to let that citizen know that if they wish to wait, it's going to be at least 45 minutes before we can get a supervisor here. And again, that's depending on what time of night as well, or what time of the day or night. And that was a retraining that the sheriff's office clarified with all their individuals. If a citizen requests, you immediately request for a supervisor. One of the things is a policy should be reviewed to clarify whether deputies are required to contact an individual for a welfare check. And talking with the sheriff, that's a case by case. If it's 10:30 at night and the child's asleep, they're not going to wake a child to check on them, but they will do a follow-up. So depending on the case and the situation, they'll either do a contact check or they'll do a follow-up on that. Calvert County still has emerged as leaders in this program. And in the training last year, it was specified in both the PAB and the ACC refresher trainings, that where Calvert County has led the state and still is leading the state. Unfortunately, some counties are having difficulty getting citizens to sit on their committees. So some ACs are still not meeting. They, Wayne Silver also, when someone calls them for a recommendation, he's referring them to Calvert County for advice. And I guess it would go to HR, I'm not sure, but, so we still are setting the standard. Thanks to Wilson, we are still above the rest of the state. In 2025, we had outreach meetings at all 3 libraries. Unfortunately, I don't know that it was advertised well enough because we didn't have any attendance. So we're looking at ways to meet with the community to let them know what this board is actually doing and how we're working with the sheriff's office and how things have changed from 10 years ago, that it's a good thing. We attended refresher training in June with the Maryland Police Training and Standards Commission. It's a good, it's not a mandatory training. I'm not sure why the regulation doesn't make training mandatory for this program, but there's a lot of things that come out of these refresher training. Lessons learned, changes in regulations, changes that they're trying to put through legislature. So a lot of good things come out of that, and we bring that back to the committees. We attended a pre-planning statewide PAB summit held in Baltimore City. They are going to be doing a summit in April for all PABs and ACCs. When that comes about, we'll have attendance on that to see exactly what the rest of the state is looking at or is doing. So our goals this year is to keep our relationship with the law enforcement going strong. Like I said, we meet with them once a quarter before we have our PAB meetings. They attend the PAB meetings. They're available for all ACC meetings monthly for questions or concerns with any complaints or issues that we have going on. We maintain with the website and in contact with the Training Standards Commission because they come out with changes. They came out with a checklist last year, but they just put it on their website. They didn't send it to the PABs. So having to keep in contact with them, coordinate the outreach with the public. There might be specific groups that are interested, or we have to figure out a way to get the information out so that people know this program exists and why it exists and how well it is working within their county. Continue to review trends and identify policies and or procedures that may need to be changed. I ran that fast, but I think one of the things that we did last year as well, because we are at the 3-year point, we took a look at the MOUs that we have in place with the Sheriff's Office and with the State's Attorney, just to make sure that everything met the standard and is in compliance, as well as we took a look at our website, things that maybe should be up there or that we may need to get up there or things that may need to change. So we figured at that 3-year point it was a good time to just go back, look at everything, and make sure that everything's in compliance. So at this point, this is where you can get in more information. If anybody is interested, this annual report will be put up on our website. Are there any questions or anything I missed?
I don't have any questions. You know, it's one of the things that really stuck out to me, and I saw the percentages of complaints and how low they are per capita, I guess you could say. And then you're saying you're having a hard time getting to the public to get them to get involved. Well, you know what? If the complaints are that small, probably that population of the public has interest in it as well at this point. We're very fortunate to live in the county we live in, and Sheriff Cox's personnel are very fortunate to police in the county that they police in. For years we had a great reputation, and Sheriff Cox has ensured that that has continued. So thank you guys for doing what you're doing. I did have one question. So when they set up the Police Accountability Board, does the state police do their own thing? And
Yes, they do.
Okay, that's
Yes,
what I
they
was
do.
wondering where that was. If, you're in the same county. I just didn't know how that
Yeah,
worked.
theirs is in Annapolis. They have their own accountability board in Annapolis, and anything that comes in referencing state police, it gets sent to them. We did have a case that it was an officer, state police officer in Calvert County wanted it to go to trial board, so they did the trial board here, and they requested that we provide an individual from our boards that could sit on that. So our citizen on the ACC board sat on their board, but they handle all of theirs internally.
I think the low amount of complaints, as well as, and you mentioned with Sheriff Cox, is they're so engaged with the community. Sheriff's office is always out there.
Right.
I mean, so many different functions they're at constantly, and that engagement with the community and their interaction, they're very approachable, and I've said it many times, I've always felt lucky and fortunate to live in a county that supports law enforcement. But they don't shy from anything. They're immediately on their Facebook page getting out information. I mean, Sheriff Cox organization has been very, very proactive with that. So I wanted to thank the sheriff and you guys as well for, because 3 years ago there was a lot of apprehension. What did this board mean?
Exactly.
I mean, it
Even
was very
to the
scary.
officers.
And Sheriff's office has been, very, very involved. And no, I just want to thank everybody for what you're doing.
Thank you. One of the things that we found too is on the complaints, about a quarter of them are from individuals who do not live in our county.
Mm-hmm.
They're coming from either St. Mary's or Prince George or Charles, coming into our county and getting stopped. So about a quarter of them.
I just wanted to compliment you on your presentation. It was very conversational. It was very engaging rather than reading everything verbatim. So thank you for that, and thank you all for all you're doing, and thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we greatly appreciate your service.
Thank you.
And as you said, we were very fortunate to have Wilson to help get things off the ground and get going. So
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. He built the foundation and got it rolling, and now it's just keep it going and tweak it. That's
Yeah.
it.
So
thank you again.
Something I found interesting was the time that when you get a complaint to the time it goes to your desk and out the door is amazing. What work you put into it. So thank
Well-
you all for what you do, and Sheriff Cox.
Yeah, the sheriff has a year to review and investigate, get all the facts, everything together. The ACC has 30 days from the
Yes.
time they receive it.
Yep.
And so it either then has to be resolved when we have our meeting, or if there are additional questions or concerns that we have, we send it back to the sheriff's office for them to do additional review and research on.
So thank you.
Thank you.
We thank the sheriff definitely for his cooperation and assistance and everything.
Yeah, Commissioners, I would like to say thank you to Susan Justice. I mean, since Perrin has left, she's been a godsend as far as the organization of the board. Very compassionate in what she does, and communication, I think, is what makes us, thrive, because we communicate well. They get the full case file. They get how many hours of body cam footage does the board watch? I mean, they watch every minute of it because they do have questions about it. The questions they do have, they ask us, and I think the communication between the two boards in my office, I kind of think that makes us thrive in this. Because I think we talked to Susan, some counties have not even had citizens to step up and even serve on these boards. I mean, there's boards that haven't even
4 or 5 years in the
Correct.
making, correct?
And as you can hear, I mean, she's talking about the trends. We're involved in that. I mean, 13 counties within the state are involved in that. Rest of the county, I think, that really don't have any I wouldn't say care, but I would, the kind of like the involvement that we kind of have here. And again, I think it's the communication piece that keeps us ahead of everybody else and keeps us going, because if they do have a question, I answer them. I mean,
Wasn't Calvert first or one of the
Yes.
first?
Calvert was the first.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think when you said it, when they put this in place, the Police Accountability Act, the state never gave any kind of direction
Oh.
or any kind of
Yeah.
guidelines of how they wanted to see how it ran. So every county was doing kind of their own thing in the beginning. And Mr. Perrin was, he was great to work with and put it together ourselves. And then Susan taking over has been great too. It's a good transition.
We actually did presentations throughout the state for other organizations that were trying to put it together, and Wilson Perrin was a teacher, if you will,
Yeah.
in that whole process.
Definitely. And we've heard at training that counties are kind of doing, some of them are doing what they want to do, which doesn't necessarily comply with the law. And some of them are very overwhelmed, as you could imagine, with complaints. And so they're shuffling them. Oh, well, the attorney said this, so okay, we'll just go with that, instead of reviewing everything. Like, we get provided everything, and not all the other ACCs get the amount of material that we get, which is the sheriff's doing.
Great.
So Calvert County still stands at the top.
Good.
And we
Good.
want to keep it that way.
Good.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You
You
too.
too.
The
Take
same.
care.
Thank you.
And that takes us to presentation by the Department of Community Resources for Calvert Safe Housing Network.
Jennifer Moreland, Director of Community Resources, and I have with me
Peg Haskell from the Calvert Safe Housing Network. Good morning. Afternoon, actually.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, yes.
So I wanted to give some background to the presentation today. Peg, I'll first start out by saying that our department, one of our main goals is to identify human services gaps, right? System gaps. And for years, I've been coming to the board and talking about some of the challenges that we have with domestic violence, and particularly the survivors, the resources that they need. And housing has always been a topic of conversation. Case management has been a topic of conversation in those presentations. So I'm delighted that fate would have it that Peg would reach out to me last year and basically had a formula for how to address those issues. And so today, she's joining us to talk about her nonprofit, which she managed to create in a very short amount of time, but has a lot of experience in this work. And I feel very fortunate that that she has come home to Calvert County, her second home. Yeah.
So thank you, commissioners. As Jennifer said, my name is Peg Haskell. I'm the executive director of the Calvert Safe Housing Network. If I may, before I launch into my presentation, I just wanted to say what an honor it is truly for me to be here with you today to present about this work. I, as Jen said, have in some ways come home to Calvert County. I have been a lifetime summer resident of the county and moved here full-time in late 2023. My parents were also very involved in the county, particularly in the development of the what was then the Battle Creek Nature Education Society and the American Chestnut Land Trust. And so we have a deep family connection to this county, and I'm really thrilled to be able to offer my skills and expertise to help make Calvert County as great as it can be. So with that, I wanted to, today, my purpose is to provide you with some background about Calvert Safe Housing Network, the prioritized needs for survivors of domestic and sexual violence here, and the transition plan for Safe Harbor Shelter. Calvert Safe Housing was founded in early 2025, and our mission is to ensure access to essential safe housing and services for survivors of domestic and sexual violence, while supporting communities to build long-term solutions for sustainability, stability, and safety. Our vision is to enable individuals, families, and communities to recover and rebuild from violence, where nobody has to choose between having safety and having a home. Our core programs currently include emergency housing using hotel placements for survivors, affordable housing through partnerships with landlords where we provide first month's rent and security deposits, one-time financial assistance to help for basic needs such as emergency food, transportation, and household supplies, and support to help survivors relocate and maintain safe housing, all concurrent with crisis intervention, case management, counseling, and comprehensive safety planning throughout the process of survivors becoming independent from violent situations. We also have provided survivors peer support groups and drop-in housing clinics where we offer individual housing counseling and navigation, training on legal protections for survivors in housing, a comprehensive resource guide to help survivors and advocates access needed assistance, and partnerships with area victim service and housing providers to collaboratively ensure a broad safety net for survivors. Throughout our services, we employ a low-barrier voluntary services model coupled with trauma-informed services based on a model of principles that centers survivors' safety needs. We're available to survivors 24/7 year-round and collaborate with Safe Harbor, the Sheriff's Office, the Department of Health, a Center for Change, and the Risk Reduction Team, Pathways Mental Health, Cornerstone, and a number of other community-based programs to provide robust support for survivors that we work with. Calvert Safe Housing has a 10-person board of directors. I'm sorry, next. Yes, thank you. Has a 10-person board of directors, some of whom are here with us today, who oversee our organization and who have extensive expertise in victim services, housing and homelessness, government and county networks, security and safety systems, marketing and communications, finance, data and evidence-based practices, and building engineering. 8 of our board members reside here in Calvert County, and all are familiar with board roles of nonprofit governance, fundraising and fiduciary accountability, and best practices in domestic violence services. Since Calvert Safe began providing direct services in May of 2025, we have served 31 adult survivors and their 21 children escaping abuse. We've responded to 112 crisis calls on our hotline, provided individual and group counseling to 26 survivors, facilitated almost 1,500 safe nights for survivors. Those are nights away from the threat of safety, and helped 13 survivors, or more than 40% of those that we served, to obtain permanent affordable housing. We also conducted a countywide needs assessment where we gathered information from survivors through online surveys, listening sessions, and individual casework, which included a number of barriers that we learned about to housing stability and safety for survivors, including a limited affordable and safe housing supply, which leaves survivors with few options and long wait times to achieve safety and stability. Financial hardship and lack of access to affordable housing, which leaves many survivors unable to secure stable housing and, in some cases, forces them to make unsafe choices such as returning to violent homes. And gaps in ongoing supportive and wraparound services to survivors that poses a challenge to their long-term stability. For 2026, we plan to continue offering our current array of services, excuse me, including emergency housing placement with wraparound services for survivors, work to build out our network of housing providers to increase the availability of permanent, affordable, and safe housing, enhance our partnerships with community-based agencies to ensure robust services to survivors, and provide housing advocacy with local and state agencies concerning housing instability for survivors. In addition, we are working to transition the operations of Safe Harbor Shelter to Calvert Safe in partnership with the Department of Community Resources and the Calvert County Health Department. We will work toward the creation of transitional housing and a survivor resource center on the site of Safe Harbor to offer comprehensive services to survivors. We plan to reinstate the volunteer program and strengthen our hotline dedicated to victims of domestic and sexual violence, and establish programming with specialized services in children's issues, chemical addictions, mental health, housing, and economic empowerment for survivors. So our proposed budget for FY27 is $926,250, and we're requesting $277,500 from the Board of County Commissioners to fulfill the transition and operate the shelter beginning in July of 2026. I just want to thank you for your support and interest in providing safe housing for women and children escaping violence in Calvert County. And with that, I will ask if you have any questions.
Can I offer 2 points just for the public? After, one of the, I think 2 questions they might have with regards to the funding. This is the same funding allocation that we've given to Safe Harbor from the past year. It's the same one going forward. So there isn't a change in funding for FY27, which is why it wasn't included as a funding, fiscal impact on the presentation.
While you're there, where's the balance come from?
Balance?
The balance of the 900,000.
Oh, I'll let her speak to that.
State funding, foundation funding, and corporate fundraising.
Okay, I just want to throw that out there.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. And she has been able to do services this past year through her grants work and fundraising. So I also would like to mention that Safe Harbor merged with Calvert Safe. So they are now, Calvert Safe is the umbrella organization for Safe Harbor. And that's how this came about.
And their board members serve on our board of directors.
Yep.
I think the biggest thing for me, Safe Harbor was started grassroots, just like everything in Calvert County. And we are such a family. You can't go anywhere in this county that you don't run into someone that you know. And I just hope we will keep the same sense of family and protection and support as we've provided over these years. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So we're just so blessed to have you here, and it's amazing what you've done in such a short time. And in that short time, I mean, I know that during COVID we had a significant uptick in domestic violence. Have we seen that level off, or where are we at today, in your opinion?
So, of course, I haven't been providing services in Calvert County during the pandemic. We only just started doing that. But my experience and in discussions with programs around the country, that while the uptick that occurred during the pandemic has indeed leveled off, there are always going to be factors that impact the increase or decrease of domestic violence. One of them currently being the economic downturn that is being experienced, inflation, the pending recession, if there is one, that always impacts families and increases stresses that result in more domestic violence. So it ebbs and flows.
Yeah, these individuals are in such a horrible situation, and sometimes they don't know where to go for help, and just can't imagine what that's like. So just want to thank you again for all you're doing for our community.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you all very much for your entire staff for what you do for Calvert County.
And I want to say thank you as well. And I get to see the result of people, and that's an angel sitting next to you right there. My job is easy. I get thanked a lot from folks, but I don't do anything. I mean, I pick up the phone and I call Jen, and you know, and I mean, you don't know what's going on behind people's doors. And so many times you think you know these families, or you think you know these people, and you don't know what kind of stuff is going on, and for years. And you guys are able to actually change not just their life, but their children's life and the people in their family. I mean, I don't know if these people truly know the harm they do. I mean, how many people they touch, you know, when they abuse their spouse or things of that nature, and the helplessness that they feel. And you see so much more than, I mean, I get the abbreviated version. I get I don't know where to go and what to do. And I call Jen, and I kid you not, my conversation is always, I'm like, well, right now, don't panic. And I kid you not, is what I tell them, like, she's the best. She's incredible. And if she doesn't know exactly where to go, she's going to find where to go and what service and outlet to use. And I can't thank you, because I know you were one of those calls.
Yeah, truly. And that's the thing, is that the Department of Community Resources, we're actually, you know, in many ways, our front central office, we're not direct service providers. We're about connecting people to those important collaborative partners. And I'm so excited, because I think this is the beginning of a really special collaborative partnership. And the fact that we got blessed with that grant, from that strategic revitalization grant for the housing, the transitional housing for survivors of domestic violence, that's another piece in this problem solving. But it's the resource center that will be on site there, so they don't have to go to a bunch of different places, that their needs can all get addressed in one place. And then the idea that they're not just there for 90 days, that we can transition them to safe housing while they get on their feet, get employed, get stable.
And I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen it firsthand. Yeah. I mean, you folks are incredible. I've seen the result in them coming back and saying, I just don't have the words from where my life is now, and seeing their kids and actually watching their kids succeed. I've been at award ceremonies handing out awards to their children that have succeeded because the mom was able to get away and stuff. So there's not enough appreciation in the world. And thank you.
You want to have your team stand up?
Oh, yes. If y'all want to meet my team, I've got my staff here. If y'all would stand up, there's Linda Stock, Cheyenne Snyder, and Nicole Hamilton are the three staff members who have been working directly with the survivors over the last year, and have just been rock stars in their own right.
Thank you all for doing what you do.
And they are all Calvert County residents, born and bred. So I'm just thrilled to have them on my team.
And you have a board member.
Oh, and I have one board member in the back, Megan Harris.
We're very fortunate to have the resources we have there, and I'll tell you, firsthand, I was able to. I guess thinking back, that was probably one of the first relief resources that the county had. How long has it been there?
What, the shelter?
Shelter since '96, I think.
I was going to say that was like the first.
It's true.
Of many that came after the fact, and it was always good to be able to take people there to give them the opportunity to escape their circumstances. But what was frustrating is when they would go back to it.
I know.
And you see that time and time and time again.
Hopefully this gives them more options.
Yes. Yeah. And just keep on trying to help as much as you possibly can.
Exactly.
And the grant, again, like you said, that's going to be awesome. What is the capacity there now, and are we having to place have we, needed additional housing
Mhm.
during the course of the year? And okay.
So the shelter currently, Safe Harbor has the capacity with 25 beds in 8 rooms for adults and children. There are a number of reasons why survivors often can't access the shelter, either because the shelter is full, or they're not eligible for the shelter, or honestly because the shelter is their abusers know where the shelter is, so it's not safe for them to go there. And so for all of those reasons, we have found the need to be able to provide them with alternative placements in hotels in the area.
Okay. Anybody else have anything?
No.
Well, thank you all for
Thank
taking
you.
the time to
Thank
come
you.
in. It was very informative, and we look forward to continuing to have you as a resource.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
That takes us to public comment. Madam Attorney?
Yes. Good afternoon. To maintain a quorum, the Board of County Commissioners adheres to established procedural rules first adopted in 1989 that are applied in a viewpoint-neutral way only to genuinely disruptive or threatening behavior. As an invited speaker addressing topics pertaining to county government, please observe the following guidelines. All remarks and conduct must be respectful and refrain from personal attacks, inflammatory language, or disruptive behavior. Prior to commencing your remarks, please state your full name for the record. Individual speakers are allocated 2 minutes. Designated representatives speaking on behalf of an organization or group are allotted 5 minutes. Individuals seeking to influence governmental decisions are categorized as lobbyists and are required to register with the Ethics Commission prior to their engagement with the board.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name's Joe Cormier, and I'll be speaking on behalf of myself. Now, I might be a recent transplant from far away, only living here for a decade, but I thought the Calvert County values meant being able to look somebody in the eye, shake their hand, and tell the truth. Names matter. For example, End Hunger in Calvert County is now doing business as Community Harvest, and Calvert Memorial changed its name to Calvert Health Medical, naming individuals to have authority to represent the county or their designee. So when the county needs to create and maintain an agreement with another entity, the names have to be in alignment and the agreement has to be modified as needed. So it's concerning that the county entered into an agreement with a third party but refuses to share who that entity is, redacting their name from official documents. How is the public to form an opinion and offer up consent for our elected leadership when we don't know who they're generating transaction with? And how do we follow up on political contributions, ethics compliance, and budgetary transparency? Words matter. For example, the county information page regarding data centers says the county government's aware of permits filed, but doesn't say anything else. MDE manages various permits for land, water use, and wastewater, but it doesn't say where those permits are filed or what the tracking numbers are. Let me assist you. The Calvert County Data Center Campus Project, MDE permit tracking number 2025-61277. Instead of preemptively seeking authority to dole out new tax credits and pilot schemes, try welcoming data centers by requiring them to generate their own power without adding new transmission lines. Electric de France Group, BGE, Constellation Exelon, and whoever owns this property should be able to build this campus without a plan in place beyond running diesel or LNG generators 24/7. Your friends in Lesby have a plan to build a campus of data centers extending from the southern edge of Flag Pond Nature Park all the way south past Camp Conoy Road to Calvert Cliff Campground and east to west from Route 4 behind Southern Middle School to the bay. Designs show no grading in close proximity to the tobacco barns, but data center number 1 extends well into the boundary, cutting off access to the 2 tobacco barns and will significantly alter the landscape of Parents Park, Calvert County Historical Site 58. The Baltimore and Drum Point Railroad, Historical Site 1295, includes 2 non-continuous sections of intact railroad. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other?
Myra Gowans, Huntingtown, Maryland, Calvert Citizens United, Inc. I just want to share this with you, and it's really kind of with a heavy heart and a lot on my mind. I was at this is the second time I've been in your building, in your area. And I went the other night to see the appeals board. and watch what they were doing with regard to the apartments and the proposal down there in Solomon's or in Lusby. And I was shocked because I've never seen 5 people not ask questions or not want to know anything other than if Mr. Johnny Gott is going to be allowed and permitted that his time clock stops. Because what happens is that he will have to build the apartments now, and he's out of money, and he does this and he does that, and he's a wonderful person and everything. And so what ended up happening that I find egregious is this. I came here well over a year and a half ago, and I explained in the old courthouse, I explained to you all that the memorandum of understanding, which is the basis for that plan, was altered in 2018. It was altered by an employee of the county commissioners. Nobody asked me a thing about it. You all just sat there like, oh, okay, that happened. What is happening now during election season is people want to know what in the world is going on behind closed doors when you have a project and everybody says this project has to come online, has to be everything. I was in a meeting with Buddy Hance and Catherine Grasso. That MOU was never even recorded in land records. It's all a fake document. It never had any stability, any legal ability to grant everything you're giving this man down there. I find this gut-wrenching, and I find it that I'm very, very disheartened by the board, because I've told you, and planning and zoning prior to Jason Brinkley, they're the ones that told me what was going on and what happened. I did not out them. I did not say anything behind closed doors, nothing. I'm telling you now that there's a problem, and that problem starts with you all. Not with planning and zoning, not with the appeals board. Those poor little old men were up there the other night. I swear to God, they had everything laid out. Everything they wanted to do. That proceeding was all about a backroom transaction. And I'm telling you just as politely as I can and heartfelt. The citizens in First District do not care for you all at all because you've not protected them, you haven't listened to them, and the transaction came alive because of a backroom deal. Thank you kindly. Consider this, and I say this to you all with respect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any others in the audience who wish to speak? Are there any?
There's
online?
nobody online at this time.
Thank you.
All right, that takes us to commissioner comments, commissioner reports. Commissioner Grasso.
Okay. Well, it's been a busy, busy time. I want to wish everybody a happy new year and just make a comment on a few of the advantages we have in Calvert County with Calvert Marine Museum, our library system, and Anne Marie Gardens. What gems. I encourage all of you to see what is on their agenda, their programs from month to month, because I did the Garden and Lights tour with my husband, and it was absolutely fabulous. And I had said earlier, I have a friend in Wilmington who used to live here, and she's always talking about what they do in Wilmington. Well, it's second to ours for sure, so take advantage of what we have. I also wanted to say, ask to keep the Bigelow family in your thoughts and prayers. Kathy Bigelow passed. She's a mother of 9 children, numerous grandchildren, and now some great-grandchildren. A great lady, a faith-filled lady, and we're going to miss her. So thank you all very much.
So on January the 3rd, I attended an Eagle Scout ceremony at Woodworth Memorial Church for 4 young men who achieved the rank of Eagle. Patrick, Philip, and Jeremiah Jenkins, and Patrick Surface. Patrick Surface was their first cousin of the 3 brothers. But what was interesting from this Eagle ceremony is there's always some interesting tidbit that comes out of every Eagle ceremony I go to. The Jenkinses, Mr. and Mrs. Jenkins, had adopted, if I understood her correctly, 11 children. Of those 11 children, 6 of them were Eagle Scouts. 2 of the girls were Golden Girl Scouts. I thanked them greatly for what they've done and told them they need to adopt more children because in this day and age, to do that is quite an accomplishment. And so I want to commend the Jenkinsons today for their service. And another sad side note to that situation was they had waited to hold this ceremony until all the boys had gotten the rank of Eagle and the cousin. And unfortunately, one of those young men died last year. And so we awarded his Eagle ceremony that day posthumously. So it was an interesting ceremony to say the least. So, but the benefit of this job is you get to go to Eagle Scout ceremonies where you see the best of the best. Not just the kids, it's the parents that raise those children and push them and get them on the right path to be great citizens. It's truly, truly rewarding and an honor to be present at those. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Commissioner Hart.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Kind of keeping with that theme, I met with the Cub Scout Pack 451 in Lusby. They had a government fulfillment that they have to do where they bring someone in and ask questions, and those are always the most entertaining because they're like 12-ish, I think, and so the questions are so cute. So that was fun, and then I had a Eagle Scout Saturday, also from Board of Ed. Lisa Grennis was there, and Sheriff Ricky Cox. They were there, and had 3 for Aiden Harrington, Ray Holberg, and Siler Lester. And kind of like Commissioner Hance was saying, the families are incredible. You know, the commitment it takes to get to an Eagle Scout and the hours and everything put in. And it was a huge turnout, lots of family members. And it's really cool because it's the respect of community, country, faith, and you can see why these Eagle Scouts go on to be the successful people that they are. So I was very honored that they asked me to be part of such an important thing in their life, and I thank them for that. And that's it, Mr. President.
Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mr. President. I attended the Corrections Graduation Session 75. We had 3 from Calvert go through the corrections training. Robert Bingham, Dominic Jones, and Caitlin Tack. And, you know, that field is a difficult field to get into these days. So for these young trainees to go through the training and get all their disciplines done and get into the corrections, congratulations to all of them. Also, I attended with Commissioner Island K&K Adventure Zone. They just opened an indoor play park at Fox Run Shopping Center. Miniature golf, laser tag, and it's just not for the youth. There was a lot of adults in there having fun as well, so give them a try.
Did you put your laser tag gear on and give it a whirl?
So yes, give them a try, and congratulations on them opening a new store there in Fox Run Shopping Center.
So, thank you. So, it's where Joanne's Fabrics was, and like I said, they've done a wonderful job with it. It's an indoor facility. They had the K&K Play Partner, still do, behind the Brick Restaurant there, Sherry Lane, across from Company 2, and this is an expansion of that. But it gives, like I said, wintertime opportunity, rainy day opportunity, and parents will have a place to take their children and hang out with them. They actually have some old arcade games in there. They did a very nice job putting it together. I want to announce there's a event called A Night to Remember being held February 28th from 5:30 to 8:30. It's going to be at Patuxent High School. Grace Mansfield, Lindsay Gallen, and Carrie Clegg are putting it on. For more information, you can go to A Night to Remember on Facebook, and it spells out what it's all about. It's dedicated to honor individuals with special needs and their families. We talked earlier about the 250th celebration. There's a schedule of events associated with that to celebrate our country's history. We had several representatives in here today to receive the proclamation that Commissioner Grasso issued, and Huntingtown High School really stood out to me. You got a social study teacher and a couple students, and they've really learned a lot during the process. They've done a lot of research, and we look forward to seeing more of what they're going to do this year. Legislative session is kicking off in Annapolis. If you have the opportunity to monitor that, we have several bills there that we're asking for support on. And last but not least, happy birthday, Commissioner Grasso.
Well, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
All right, we have a motion?
Yes, Mr. President. I move to recess to executive session pursuant to general provisions, Article Section 3-305B1I, to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom the board has jurisdiction.
Second.
So, motion and a second to adjourn to executive session. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good day.